Hey,
Hey, Sai.
how's
Hey,
it
John.
going?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, doing good. Let me share. Where is it? Yeah. Atul said he will be late, but I think we can start. Do you want me to share my screen and we can go
Yeah,
over?
that'd be awesome if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Helps to keep us aligned.
Yeah. You see my screen now?
Yep.
I lost my window. There we go. Now I got it.
Yeah, but for some reason, oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, cool. I suggest we go one by one and then, have a discussion and see if we can tackle everything today. If not, we'll set up another call.
Sounds good. Just to make something clear, what our goal today is to what? It's not just to resolve the comments. Is it to identify what needs to happen still, or what is the goal?
The goal is to be as ready as can be with the document.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I think John, I don't think we spoke or met before.
That's correct. Yeah. So I worked on the initial document review a little bit, and I worked on the investment part, the deep dive, and I saw this come up, and I have this time free, so I decided to jump in.
Cool. Yeah. So initially, Atul took the time to build the first draft. Hi, Vijay.
Hi.
How's it going?
Going
And then Abby and I made some addition. Then Marsh got in. So I think we already had quite a few iterations on the interface part. So I think it's not just resolving comment; it's reaching like an agreement or disagreement, and then
Build consensus and make progress in the doc. That makes sense to me. Okay.
Yeah. So I suggest that you start with this one because I don't know if I missed it, but I thought and there's like discrepancy between the two docs, right?
Yeah,
Like
the discrepancy is mostly my fault, by the way. I'm the one who's resisting the word interface, but I can talk about that in a second. Would you mind zooming to 125% or something, just a little bit more, so it's a little bigger?
Yeah, I can do this. Another one.
Oh yeah, that's great. Thanks. That helps. That helps. Thanks. Cool.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about in the table actually where it says API contracts too, because to me, and full disclosure, like my background is in API management. And so when I think about API contracts, like I think platform engineering is very much oriented towards helping teams create services that expose well-managed APIs. And so when I see API contracts here, when the platform is in the service of helping teams build API contracts, then my worlds collide. And so that may be a me problem and not a other people's problem. And you feel free at any time to say, no, you're too API obsessed. We're going forward with interface, that's fine. Or contracts, that's fine. But that's my point of view. Does that make sense?
Like your suggestion was to have a robust API, and I'm like, both options have the API
or well integrated. Yeah. To me, look, I think what's the goal in L4? To me, it's that the platform isn't a place you go to; it comes to you. And how does that happen? That happens through tooling that leverages the platform's capabilities, often through an API. It may be wrapped in a CLI, but all of these things are built so that they can be well integrated with other systems. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think this is also what we wrote in the level 4 section, which means you can extend the capabilities of your platform not only by having a predefined solution or gluing solution on your own, but have those APIs to be able to build on top of and create your own platform. So if you go to the team topologies one, like they're talking about platforms of platforms, right? Like you can build your platform using some services, then another folks, like another team, can take your platform, wrap it up, and
there's one more piece that gets me when it's written as API contracts, because the API contract is just the beginning of it, right? What I think this really means is that it's a well-managed API. And what I mean by that is that you understand how it's being consumed because you're issuing credentials that make that possible. That it has robust protections in place, like good, thoughtful quotas, and there's a process in place to get those changed when you need them. Like, how do you prevent accidents from taking down the platform? That only doesn't happen because you have an API contract. That happens because you have a well-managed API. So to me, the word API contract here is just, it's triggering a bunch of responses that I have, and that's why I was hoping to find another way. And I think if you can switch to the other document, I think I did a better job there trying to explain that.
I don't find any explanation here, so maybe I missed it. I just see integrated
I think maybe,
services.
Yeah. Okay, good. That's like, this is better. So if we're good with this presentation of it, then I don't have an issue. We should move forward.
I want to, like, integrated services to me doesn't really.
Yeah. So good. Let's find a better phrase then for this.
Yeah.
So just to throw my monkey wrench into this, like I would kind of agree with what I think Marsha is saying a little bit as well, because it's not just API, it's the entire platform, right? Which could be tooling, it could be the API, it could be the VPC, well, the cloud that it runs on, you know, it's all of these things combining together, and it could be even multiple APIs. Like you might have tooling that goes out to one API to get this, that API to get that, combines them all together, changes settings, whatever, and then pushes out what you need. I'd say that because I'm actually working on that tooling right now for Crumware. So
nice.
So yeah, I think it's more than just API.
So the whole row then, let's talk about the whole row, because it's called interface, and I struggled with calling this interface. I was considering this to be interaction, which I think mirrors what's written in the description there. How do users interact and consume platform capabilities? To me, this is about interaction. So adoption is about getting people, like, that's like it feels like acquisition in a sense of like users. How are you acquiring users? But really, the interface to me, or interaction, is how are people working with these capabilities? And so to me, the word interaction feels more, I don't know, less encumbered maybe is the. So I was arguing that interaction here is a better word than interface, because interface invites a bunch of questions about, are we thinking UI? Are we thinking CLI? Are we thinking API? And all those things matter.
Like I don't, interactions to me, like, so I again, from my interpretation, interactions are human interactions usually, and this is not like usually what we don't want to get to level 4 with human interaction. We want to put human interactions aside and having the self-service capabilities, automation, APIs, whatever you call them, through those services. I'm not a fan of the API contracts. I'm happy with like the other thing was the robust. Like robust to me was like okay, so what is not robust API? What are not robust APIs? Like a tool, Vijay, since it's just the 5 of us, I think we should at least have a quorum here or to get a decision.
So for me, I don't see a problem with the interface kind of wording and mentality. Like to me, like whenever I hear interface in this context, it's more abstract for me. I don't think of like a GUI or a CLI tool or anything like that.
Okay. I can live with interface. I can't live with API contracts. That's the challenge I have. And I think about this to some degree as engagement, this whole row. And I'm not actually even sure how much supported capabilities and self-service capabilities in 2 and 3. Like, is that the right framing for what we're talking about? What really is this? What are we saying? Anyway, I know we've talked about the matrix here a bunch of times in the past, and so I don't want to relitigate any of that if we don't have to. But that's the part. That's where like the overall framing of this section is causing me headaches.
Atul, Vijay,
I
do you
think,
have
I think
thoughts?
if I had to add to this, based on whatever Marshall mentioned or the discussion that happened right now, I think for the last column, API contracts does probably give out a message that we are restricting it or we are containing it to that. Okay, this is the only way to interact, or that is what will happen. So I think yes, probably changing that to integrated, or maybe framing or coming up with a better word, instead of probably integrated services, which basically puts out a message that at that level, when you have a platform, it's not just the APIs, but there are a lot of other means with which they can interact with. They can extend the platform as well. So I think I'm convinced a bit on that particular part. As for the interface and interaction, I'm happy with the interface as well. What we have currently. Sure, Marsh.
Can I add to that? So agreed with what you're saying. Here's what as you were talking, that's what I was thinking about, is that actually bespoke processes feels reasonable. Like, what are you doing there? You're proving out that you can build these tools in the first place. And then I think supported solutions is like, hey, this is ready for people to use. But it may take a little more hand-holding to get it up and running. It's not necessarily self-contained. The third bit is that, like, hey, we have all of the enablement pieces here together so that you can do these things on your own without requiring hand-holding. And the fourth one is actually, I think, beyond that, it's that the tools you're using anyway are already wired into the platform. Like, you don't even have to think so much about adopting things. You're just, as you work, it is built into the platform. Does that make sense? What do we call that? To me, that's well integrated.
Yes, I mean, even when I was going through it, like, level 3 is where probably you did mention about IDPs coming into picture. And then probably level 4 would be where they have paved paths or golden paths, which is defined by the time they come to level 4, where things would be more automated in a way. So I think I'll probably note down something, because I'm not very good at just coming up with words or phrases just instantly. So I'll probably have something rough written down if you're looking, for a different word here.
I think I just realized what triggered me, like in the integrated parts, because in level 3, what we call the self-service solution, these already have a well integrated capabilities. Because if I'm asking you, the platform, give me a project, like a project quick start. I want a Git repository. I want a pipeline. I want let's be specific. I want a pipeline. I want I don't know, a container registry, Artifactory registry, all of that. You can build it like around self-service solution, and I can take this, run it, and I'll have everything I need. Like, alternatively, you can think about building databases and streaming services and all of that. Like, you can wrap all these capabilities, but it's still up to me to take them and run them and manage them in a self-service way, but I still have to run it. Whereas the level 4 one, I think well integrated, like, thinking about it again, like, now I see where you're coming with integrated services.
So maybe if I can try to, like, okay, so I think I see where we might be headed with this, and it's more of like with level 3, it's like the tools are there to give you what you need, but whereas the difference between that and like level 4 might be that they are actually like more bespoke, and the tooling itself will customize it to what you need and to build your platform out. Whereas like level 3 might just be like, okay, I need a DB, I need an API, I need whatever. Whereas level 4 would be more like, this is how I want to set my structure up, my platform up, and then it just builds it and does it. Is that maybe in line with what we were going at?
Feels like the right direction to me.
So integrated services now reads better to me than like robust APIs and.
Good. I like integrated services.
Yeah, ditto.
It's almost, when I think now when I look at L3, I'm imagining these tools to solve specific sort of problem silos. And to me, L4 is more about these things working in concert.
Or you can build on top of them, building at concert. Like
yeah. Also that extensible is also, I think,
the extensibility part is something which is really hard on level 3 because now it's on me to orchestrate. Let's take my example. If on self-service solution, I have to go and get the Git URL, the image repository, all those kind of endpoints or parameters that I need to inject to another service. I might need now to configure my application to rely on those kind of things. And without an API, I have to glue all of them together. Okay, I'm putting these comments. If let's see, integrated service.
Thank you, by the way, Sai, for facilitating this and taking the notes, because we should all be doing this too. So
yeah, we had this conversation a couple of weeks ago, at least a month ago, exactly on the API contracts, and we ended up in okay. I think we had to figure out something else, and then this is the right timing, and even integrated services seem to be much more meaningful in this context. So I'm up for it as well.
Cool. Okay, can I now let's reflect, because I still like on the left hand side, the description is the best part of this row for me. It's how do users interact with and consume platform capabilities. And so what we mean by that is, what are the interfaces available to users? And then we go, so then is it right to think that bespoke processes fits into the category that we've defined here, and supported solutions and self-service solutions and well integrated or something, integrated services, right? Do those things feel like they reflect what we've set up here?
I think I do find a growth or progression in these terms that are mentioned here. So right from, like we discussed, bespoke processes where absolutely there's nothing present, and someone just cooks up something that, okay, this is what I need, and they have a script and that's how it works. And then they move on, and then they realize, okay, there are other people using this particular solution in place, and then those teams come together, and that's when they offer a solution that, okay, hey, maybe since a lot of teams are using this is probably something that you can use to let's say create an infrastructure or provision a database, and that's where I think the journey continues from one person to a team having a supported solution, and then coming up to something like a very primitive uh, developer platform, if I can say, where these are provided as self-service, that I don't have a dedicated team sort of who's maintaining this particular solution or supporting it, but then now I have a platform where I can request what is needed, and then obviously moving on to the integrated one. So I think I'm convinced with the terms that are here based on my understanding, but yeah, open to discussion and figuring out if there's anything better.
I agree with that. The progression seems to make sense. I think the challenge I have is or the thing I'm wondering about, actually, I'm not even sure how big a problem it is whether each of the things are describing the interaction, right? Or the interface, like the bespoke process. Do you mind, Sai, scrolling up a second? Yeah, thanks. To me, in some ways, this is really about what is the user experience for your platform users, right? To me, I think it's when you're dealing with bespoke processes, it takes some. Yeah, I mean, to me, I think of this as handholding. Like you're trying. What's happening here? These are early tools. You're trying to validate whether they're doing the right thing. Supported solutions is still not self-service, right? And self-service solutions, I think, means the enablement is all in place, and optimized is really that it's everywhere already. Like you don't think about it, it just happens in some ways. And so that's less about the interface to me than it's about the user experience, which is different from adoption. So at some point we have to make a call and just keep moving forward. To me, I still see that there's a discontinuity between how we've framed the line and how we're talking about each of the columns here. But I'm happy.
I don't see it this way. I think like to me, but again, I think a quorum is the best way to to be able to reach any kind of decision, because at the end here it's like even an interaction is an interface. And again, I don't want to call the book like too much, but even in team topologies, they try to coin the term team interface, which basically says this is the expectation when I of the services my team provide, even if it's not what we call the software interfaces. So I think interface talks both about the processes that like the manual disjointed processes that exist on level 1, which might be maintained by many different teams with no alignment and no organizational structure or standard. I think we called it up in the level 1, where all the way up to what we now call integrated services, which has a strict interface. We really know what we're getting. Yeah.
So to me, what you just described is in some ways, it's like, as a user, what is the investment required to realize the results here? And I think that is really speaking to the sort of framing of the user experience throughout these 4 stages. But like I said, so I don't know the answer. This is my hesitation about it, and we're up against some deadlines. So I can live with interface. I can live with what we have here. My only question is, can we do better? Is there an opportunity to improve there? And if people don't see that as an opportunity to improve, then we should just keep moving. So John, Vijay, any thoughts on where your heads are at?
So I know this one thing, like AB and like the Josh was mentioning earlier, that any big changes at this phase might lead to the different convention. That's number one thing. And number 2, we always can versionize it. And at this point, I don't want to, at least I don't know what, in the sense, like I don't want to see big changes in the main table. That maybe like we can reiterate based on how the finalized data set comes around.
Okay.
But
I also think, by the way,
for example, one of the word that was mentioned earlier, like which is platform enhancement and extendability. That was the first conversation that I still see any leader that when they look at this table, and the first question that comes is that how this platform is going to be extendable, and what I haven't seen that wording in this, and but still I felt like, okay, maybe we can explain it in one of the tables. But those, like a few words that are really important for these maturity models. And
I think, by the way, one thing that's helped me in talking this through with you all now is that I think there are a couple important points that should be made in the introduction to interface that can help frame and deal with the issues that I'm talking about. So I think I've made a couple notes to myself, and I can add that content in there.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, and for me, interface makes sense. Like, you know, like we can have like an application programming interface. We can have a user interface, whatever. Just like you can have an object in a programming language, right? But at the abstract of an interface is nothing to do with any of those things. It can be everything, just like an object.
Yep. I think what's interesting is in the rows of the table, adoption is about the people problem, getting people in the door. Is interface about the capabilities? I think it might be to some degree, but to me, I think it's the user experience of those capabilities. It's how those things intersect. But let's keep moving because we got a lot to cover. I have a note to myself. I'll add it to the interface intro. Thank you for entertaining my points, by the way.
And I think just to continue where Vijay mentioned about extensibility, and Sahi also talking about it earlier, you also mentioning it. I think it does make sense to mention it somewhere at the scale level, because that's where we discuss, that at the third level, you'll have everything in silos, and that's when you want to glue all of them together when you move to level 4. And that's where, I think it's more about making making your platforms a bit more extensible, so that by the time you are at a mature level, everything is glued together and you are able to work with different silos, which was not the case in the earlier one. So probably, I'll try to work on it and see if we can fit that somewhere in level 3 or level 4.
Cool. Do you want to add a note, a comment somewhere that you'll take that in one of the sections?
Yes, I will do that. Yeah.
Cool. Should we progress to level 1? I see you're editing right now, Mark,
Yep.
so we can review it offline.
But, yeah, sounds good.
I think we should progress to level 1 and see where we're heading. So you already talked on that, like decentralized, pre-centralized stage.
I don't know if that's particularly, like, to me, bespoke. What does bespoke processes mean here? Like, to me, I think these are, because this is so early, you're like trying to solve specific problems and you're not yet thinking about how you're going to onboard people to them. You just really, these require a lot of knowledge transfer person to person before you can really leverage them. Is the way it makes sense to me. What does it mean? What does bespoke processes mean to people here?
When you say decentralized and pre-centralized, it reads to me as the goal is to be centralized. Now, it might be the goal to be centralized, but I don't want to. I don't think positioning a level
reject it. Reject it there. I agree with you. I agree. It suggests that you should aspire to something, and that's not fair.
Now, bespoke. I'm not a native English speaker, but like a bespoke processes, to me, it reads like something which is commonly known to a lot of people in the organization, but it's like it's a word to mouth thing, or
so because the bespoke, I just looked it up to get a precise one. It's made for a particular customer or user.
Okay.
So it's probably something which is very tailor-made or something for me. So let's say five of us are in the team, and it is something that, let's say I have a Mongo setup with some EC2 instance. That is something which is very particular, very personal, or based on what I work. So whatever processes we have, it's like each 5 of us might have 5 different scripts or 5 different processes built for each one of us.
So
that's what my understanding was.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I might have been the one that introduced bespoke as a word.
It's a great word. It's a great word, but
I'm thinking of
I
like
just
a bespoke.
exposed my lack of
no. Look, great. We all come with different.
I'm thinking of like a bespoke suit, right? Like you get a suit that's bespoke, it's made for you,
I didn't
but you
know
can't.
This term.
No one else can wear that suit and make it look good, right? So it's bespoke in the sense that it's, we have a solution for this one thing that came up, and so we made that, but it can't really be shared across different problems that you're trying to solve for.
It's custom fit.
Right.
So what about calling it tailored processes? Like scripted.
Yeah, that works.
Being explicit. Yeah, I'm sorry for my.
No, this is good. Actually, the phrase custom fit feels like it should be in here too.
Okay. Do you want to read? So we have, sorry for the Zoom.
Yeah.
I suggest we read, we take like this is what we usually do in Amazon, but have like a 2-minute read and then this discussion. So.
Sorry, may I ask a question?
Yeah.
To me, I think of level 1 as like, this is organic. Like this to me is, there are lots of teams solving similar problems, and your goal is to identify commonality and share effort. I think there isn't a platform. There isn't a platform team in level 1, right? They're just people who are thinking cross team, looking for opportunities to increase efficiency. Like, hey, how are you solving this problem? Hey, we're doing this. Hey, we should maybe stop solving these over and over again. Like that.
I think this is what, if I remember correctly, what I read and changed, like proposed the other day.
Okay.
This is exactly. I think I've even added this one, like as a positive note on that level.
Okay. Oh, good.
So let's read all of that and then feel free
Okay,
to
sure. Great.
comment.
Yep.
While
Great.
I'm done. Marsh, if you can maybe be in suggesting mode when you're doing the edit, so we
Yeah,
know.
the problem is that was my suggestion. So
Okay.
it doesn't let me suggest on my own
Oh,
suggestion. But when we rejected the centralized framing, then this sentence didn't make sense. It just needed an update. But fair point. That's probably a tricky thing if we're reading and I'm changing it. It's I don't.
Because now I'm trying
So I
to
think
read my comments.
one small
are we
point.
Good? Are we good to
Yeah,
start?
yeah, I've gone through it. I probably one thing that's just bothering me, but not much is, see, when we talk about tailored processor or the provisional level, that's where existing. I mean, basically, there's nothing which is existing. There are individual people who have some requirements, and the processes are tailor made to them. So I think the moment when you start, I mean, currently, if you see, it starts by talking about, and I'm coming purely from the content and orientation of the text that we have here. So we begin by talking about that people realize that other people are having similar problems, and that's where they realize that they need solutions. However, I feel that we should probably start by mentioning that there are individuals initially who have who have certain requirements, and then they have processes which address those needs, which are very specific to that task. And then we delve into that. Okay, then because an individual is doing, there might be some interactions between the team members. So there is some form of knowledge sharing between individuals, and then we get into the actual thing. So I feel probably the line which I've highlighted, these processes address immediate user needs. I think that is something which should probably be the opening part of this section. Is what I feel.
Yeah. I just put a comment here, so you know if you wanna open, like, rephrase it. I wanna comment on this one. I think this whole section opening, it belongs to level 2, Marsh, and happy to have a discussion on that, because I think, like, the tailored process, and you also mentioned this on the provisional level, there might not be even a platform team. There can be 3-4 folks who decided they had enough with manual tasks and they want to create some automation around something, but it's only tailored to the specific needs. And they work disjointly. Some, I'll take the AWS example. One work with CLI, one would work with Boto3, the other will use infrastructure as code. And they all create the same thing using different tooling, different standards, different everything. So, and there's even no thinking within the organization to centralize, to share the knowledge. Because
I like that.
Think about startup. When you're in
Okay.
the startup phase, you want to go fast. You don't care if Sahi will do that and Marshall will do it the other way, as long as we have 2 services to provide service to our customers, which we need the fund to get going, and then we can think about
good. This reshapes my thinking too about the problem and the way you said it. I think this is people solving their own problems, and it is distinctly not centralized or even cross-team. Did I understand what you're getting at, Sahi? Okay, great. Then yes, then I agree. So this is isolated solutions in many ways at this point. Okay. So then I agree, and this should move. I can move it into the level 2 section because that makes more sense. Now I have a better understanding of the definition. By the way, this is what I think the whole section, our whole breakout section is meant to deal with. Like, we're trying to frame it for everyone. This is helpful. Thanks.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes, the only thing is this happened a little late because both of us were occupied, but I'm glad this is happening.
Cool. Like, jump in. I will just continue as this, but
Great.
feel free to jump in if going forward. There's a comment here on provision capabilities. So I think it comes from the white paper, right? Like, no, not this one. Come on. Here. Like here, and I always try to refer back to this one. Like, what is a platform? Integrated collection of capabilities defined and present according to the needs of the platform users. It's a cross-cutting then ensure consistent experience, like consistent experience for acquiring and integrating typical capabilities and services for a broad set of application and use cases. So I think this is, I don't remember who put it, like whether it was you, Atul, or me, but I think this is where it's coming from. At least the way I read it.
And it's the same in my head as well. Capabilities are more like the offering or the services that the platform gives. So provisioning capabilities is essentially like providing services, sort of.
Now, if we disagree with that, we can. I'm just saying we should also, like, with a phrase, like, if you want to expand this, we should probably comment on the white paper itself. But trying to be aligned with that, and I haven't read your response, like, to what.
is the same thing what I just said. So
Yeah,
I just put it there earlier in the day.
Good. By the way, the goods collection here. I mean, so like, I think the last conversation we just had was about, I think, the sort of isolated solutions. Like these are disorganized. Like there's people solving their own problems, right? This is not shared by definition. So what is a collection in that case? I feel like what we haven't captured, what we need to nail in the beginning is the thing that I hadn't understood until you said it the way you did, Sahi, which is that these are solutions that have essentially grown up to solve problems. There is no sharing at this point, right? That's what's missing for me in this section, is that there are problems that exist that people are solving, but there's nothing that's being shared, or very little being shared at this point.
Right. So I think that's what the edit which I probably want to do. So
Okay.
Yeah, basically when I spoke about moving things up, that's where I think it will probably make much more sense once that reframing comes into the
cool.
picture.
Then you just leave yourself a note that or do it. Yeah, great, cool, thanks. Thank you. Okay, that's the part I was missing for understanding the rest of it. Thanks. Yep, thanks. That helps me.
I'll rephrase them better, but yeah, this is just as is right now.
Yep.
So I think if I put, where is it? I've added a comment about what you said a couple of times, Marsh, which is quite helpful. People solving their own problems without sharing knowledge standards. I've added the standard. To me, this reads like this doesn't really relate to anything. I've added this, and I'm happy to remove it. And I'm also talking about mentioning interface, which is not like in level 1. I don't think we are like anyone think about interface at that phase at that level. Not to mention composing services together. So I think I'm happy of removing this one. Now, the other thing I've added here is that try to put like the positive angle on of this section, because all the way up to here we discussed what's wrong with this level. And I think like and Abby mentioned, I think it was in level 3 or 2, that we should start with either start or end, but like be consistent around like it doesn't, one, adding a positive note, and B, it can't be that a level can be bad for someone. If you
really important point. This is not judgmental. Like this is the reality of where you're at, and that's good. Like you're on a path. Awesome.
Yeah. So this is this one.
I really like what you have here. I would just accept it or if you're able to, or maybe is anyone an editor, or are we all editors?
No, I'm just suggesting. I can accept it if you want to edit something. I think you can. And there's
like
no standardization at all here. Like this is the whole point. I think we need to make sure that in the tailored processes there's no standardization. They're disjointed, scattered around solutions, processes, whatever we call them, that users create for their own good. Cool. And the last question here, I think you've added this one, right? I'm not sure how the
same here.
Like how this connects to the level. Like it sounds like a definition needs to bubble up into the here, like the like the introduction phase of the maturity model, rather than being on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it fits into the breakout for interface.
Yes.
So can I
Reject it.
reject?
Yes, I think we can reject it.
For some
Colin
reason
is
it
not
shows.
there on the call, right? No, I don't see him.
Ah, it's Colin, not Nars. Sorry.
It's Colin. No, sorry. That's okay.
So I like. Should we?
I'm
take
adding a note
comment?
for why we're doing this. Yeah.
You're adding? Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Go ahead and you can reject it then. As that is a little rationale for why we did this.
I think yeah, this is what I thought. It removed all the, for some reason it removed this section that we agreed to. Yeah, why
Oh.
why is it doing that? See, when I accept this one, okay, now it's this is where change tracking goes beyond my capabilities. Cool. Should we proceed to level 2? We have like 10 minutes.
Yeah, we can do that. Do you want to accept Atul's intro at the top?
Visual solutions address immediate teams needs that cater to diverse specific tasks. There might be no sharing. Yeah, sounds good to me.
I think we can continue to wordsmith it, but generally, I think it frames nicely like what's the reality, what's the landscape look like here, and then there's the softening that says, hey, this is okay. It's good to be here. You're cool.
So maybe we should start with a positive note, and I should.
I think it's hard to have the positive note when you're not quite sure what we're talking about yet.
Okay, cool.
I mean, and look, that's the trap I fell into with level 1, was not having the right framing. And now we're starting with that, and then we're like, hey, great that you're here. Glad to see you. Okay, level 2. You want to read through it, Zahi, like we did last time?
Yeah, I think it helps.
Great.
Now I think the Marsh, what you moved from level 1 to level 2, it makes much more sense here.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Okay. Ooh. I love Abby's edit. I think that's awesome. So we need more time on section 2.
I'm ready. Cool.
I'm good.
So I'll go first. I have nothing to comment. I'm happy to accept all changes as they are. I just think I've added this as a note. I think it's I don't know if it should come here. I put a comment here or should come first, but I think it's an option to call out that this level might be the first time that organization realize that they need a platform, they need a team. Like it can be one team, it can be multiple teams, but this is the first phase that I realize I have to do standardization.
Yeah, I dig it. I'm basically in the same boat, like with the edits we have, and like Abby's edit taking over that that one sentence. I'm good. Nothing
Do you
to
think
add.
do you think it should come last, like here in the last part, as a closing sentence?
Maybe.
I could probably
I just thought I'd write it down.
Sorry. I was saying maybe, this could be fit. I mean, this could be fitting well right at the second line as well. So when you start this level, when you say that at operationalized level, people begin to realize other teams are dealing with similar problem, and that's when organizations realize that you need a dedicated team or a team who can work with these solutions. So I think that just gels well with the complete flow that we have.
I have a line I can drop in there, Sahi, I think.
Okay.
That helps.
So let me.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Okay.
So in my head, I read it as a completely story that, okay, level 1, it was completely, individualistic.
Good.
I come here and then I realize others are having problem. That's when I realize, oh, okay, I might need teams to take care of this. And then we build upon that.
Good. And by the way, I'll echo what I heard from Sahi and John, that the section is in decent shape, actually.
Yep.
So can I accept all of it?
Yeah.
One by one.
I think we'd be in a good spot to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it. Like,
there is a different level of satisfaction when you accept such changes.
let me switch to edit mode.
I think in terms of language, I'll take some time tomorrow and just polish the language here and there. But I think in terms of raw structure, things do look fine.
Oh, those remains. Cool. I think we're right on time, like 2 minutes. What do you want to do? How do you want to?
Sorry, I had a call. I had to drop for a second.
Do we want to finish now and schedule another one, or can we?
Oh, I see. Sorry. The question is, yeah, we have 2 minutes
we
left.
are.
What to do? Okay, we're at time. Look, I feel like, look, we began at 50. We were 50% earlier. And I feel like we made great progress already. So, can we do the rest of this asynchronously from here? Do we need another follow up? Is that your question, Sai?
Either that, or we should.
I'd love to
have
continue,
another
but I have to
call.
jump to a different call.
Yeah. So let's do that. Let's try to read, and every addition, every comment, let's try to be descriptive one to the other, and either thumbs up, thumbs down, with the rationale behind that, or with the rationale behind removing it.
Yep. I think that sounds good. There, you can also use emoji, the reaction emoji you can use to signal support without having to trigger a email notification.
Cool.
So
okay, cool. So let's do that and try to, I don't know, let's put a goal for like early next week. I know it's almost Friday.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like around Tuesday, I think it's cool.
That sounds good. Thank you for facilitating.
Thank you so much.
That's good.
Can we
good progress.
Can we change that draft readiness to stabilizing now?
Yeah,
I'm
inclined to say yes. My only hesitation is that it feels like I don't have a good sense of how far we are from done with levels 3 and 4. But I'm generally
I think we are more than 50% complete.
Great.
So
good.
I'm with
stabilizing.
I changed it to stabilizing.
Great. Awesome.
With it too.
I love it. Excellent. Thanks.
And as I said, we can do version down the line. See you next time.
Thank you. Bye bye.